If you consider yourself a knife expert, then this is not your video. But this is for those who are looking to buy a knife for themselves for the first time, a Japanese knife, or for those who are looking to buy a gift for a loved one. I get questions every single week, and most of the questions I get that is sent to my email are from people who are looking to buy knives for a loved one. They'll go to a retailer, whether it's a brick and mortar store or an online retailer, and they are just overwhelmed by the sheer number of options of steel, shapes, sizes when it comes to Japanese knives. But this system literally took us a year to build because we had to take every single data point of every knife that we have had in our shop, and we had to manually input every data point into the system that became the filter. But now it is functional, and I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so if you head on over to perfectionstore.com, we have our pre-Black Friday sale going on, and I'm hoping I'll launch this video before Black Friday. Okay, so if you head on over to knife types, you're going to see all of the knife shapes that's available, and just click on Gyoto, for example. All right, so from here, the very first filtering option is availability, and you can go in stock, out of stock, and I'm going to leave it blank because it gives you the opportunity to actually see what other knife makers, the types of steels that they offer. And so product type, it's going to be Gyoto. We are going to have a system where you can see all of the knife shapes available, and you can click on Sentoku, Gyoto, and say Petty, or you can click on just Petty and Gyoto if you want a matching set. So as far as pricing goes, the most expensive knife we can buy is $3,299. So for brand, now a lot of knives come up. For those who are just getting into shopping for a knife, I would recommend you leaving the brand alone. Now, if you were the type that knew your knives and you've already owned a few knives, you may want to click on the makers that you only want to buy from, which is totally fine. But for most of us, I think you just leave this alone. Steel type is probably where I think most people will find the most benefit to this system here. And this is going to allow you to really hone down, no pun intended, but really select the type of steels you want to buy. This is going to allow you to do something really cool. So let's click on for something like, let's say VG10, for example. This is probably the most numerous of the knives available. This gives you a bird's eye view to see all of the knives available with VG10, both in stock and out of stock. And if you go back to the brand, so if you go back to the brand, it'll automatically gray out the brands that don't have knives with VG10. So it's a really cool system because this way it kind of just helps you isolate a few things that you normally would be very confused by. Some people may say, hey, I want to buy a VG10 Kramer, and well, Kramers don't sell VG10, for example. And a lot of people may want a Miyabi, but interestingly enough, Miyabi does not sell knives with VG10. And then from there, once you select a feature like that, say steel, and if you go to all of the other options, say the blade finishes, the blade length, it literally will gray out the knives that are not available with VG10. So if you click on colored Damascus, you'll see knives with VG10 in a colored Damascus cladding. And if you go back to the branding, it even grays it out some more. So this filter here, it's more kind of a nuanced system. It's for those who really want to get something special for them. So if you want to buy, say, a Onryu, it's going to come with a Tsuchime finish. If you want to buy a Moritaka, it's going to come with the Kuroyuchi finish. Probably something that most of you won't use, but say you own a collection of knives already, or you know that your partner has knives with a type of finish. Say every knife you look at is a Damascus, and you want to get something different. So you don't click on Damascus, and you click on Kuroyuchi. Let's actually reset this, and then you click on Kuroyuchi. So all the knives with Kuroyuchi will come up. Even though they're all technically Kuroyuchis, they are very different looking from manufacturer to manufacturer. If you look at the Moritakas, they're very raw and they have that brushed steel look. And then if you look at the Kurosaki, Kurosaki has a very refined look, a very aggressive, refined look. And if you look at someone like Nigara, again, it's got a really cool pattern, but different than what Moritaka and the Kurosakis are at. If you look at blade length, that's pretty self-explanatory. But if you look at blade construction, this is where things get really cool, because you can now isolate let's say a Warikomi there's only one maker that makes a warikomi finish, and that's Kiseke. I personally have never looked for a knife that either has a kasumi finish or a warikomi finish. I typically buy knives based on the maker, the steel, and the grind. So this here, even this, I don't recommend you starting off looking at knives based on blade construction. So blade grind is something that this is really helpful, especially for those who are left-handed. Now, I rarely get people asking for a left-handed knife, but we do have one now. We have one, and it's by Hatsu Kokoro. As you can see, under the Gyuto, most of the knives are going to be right-handed knives, and that's just how they're grounded. Or they're going to be 50-50, which is going to be 99% of the knives that you'll find under the Gyuto line. When you go to the Yanagebas and sushi knives and the single bevel knives, then you might see more left-handed options. I'm using the word chef knife and Gyuto interchangeably, just so those who are watching this video are aware that they can be used interchangeably when buying a Japanese knife. And the filter works the same way for all of the knife shapes that we have. Whether you go to a bunka and you can see all the options are there. And let me show you something really quickly here. This is a visual of what you can look for. For those who don't know what shapes you're looking for, if you go to knife types and then you go to all knife types on the bottom, we actually have a nice little visual for you to look at. And this is really handy for those who don't know what to look for and you just have an idea of what you want. All of the knife shapes are actually laid out for you in a nice single page graphic here. I hope this filter system is helpful, and it really is just my attempt at making knife buying easier for those who are shopping for themselves or for those who are shopping for others. And I definitely want to hear your feedback of how I can make this system better. That will be it for this video. Thank you for being here, and I'll catch you in the next one.